الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن عليًا ولي الله أشهد أن عليًا ولي الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين فاطر السماوات والأرضين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين المبعوث رحمة للعالمين شفيع المذنبين وحبيب قلوب الصادقين سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد اللهم صل على وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي أما بعد. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. As many of you are aware, today is the 8th of Rabi'ul Awwal, and that is the anniversary of the martyrdom of our 11th Imam, Imam al-Hasan al-Askari alayhi salatu wassalam. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. And so during this Friday sermon, I would like to look at a few of the teachings of Imam Hasan Askari alayhi salam and serve as a reminder for myself and for all of us about the practices and the ethics that we learn from Ahlul Bayt and that we adopt, not just because they make us feel good, not just because they bring us material success, but because they were the practices and the character of the Prophet and his family. Sometimes we do the right thing because we want to impress other people. When I'm in public, then I might be a little bit kinder, a little bit more generous than I am when nobody is going to watch and judge me. When I'm commenting anonymously online, then I might be ruder and harsher than I am when people can recognize me and then judge my character and my language. So sometimes when I do the right thing, it's because I want to impress somebody else or because I am afraid of what they are going to say. A little bit better than that is a person who does the right thing because of their own emotional and spiritual well-being. So let's say, for example, if I speak harshly to you, after I've said that rude word or that harsh sentence, I feel bad within myself that this person didn't deserve that kind of rudeness from me. Maybe they were having a bad day and I just made their day a little bit more stressful or a little bit worse than it was before. Or maybe they didn't mean whatever it is that they said or whatever it is that they did that annoyed me or offended me or disturbed me. And so after I make a mistake like that, I reconsider it. And then I decide not to repeat it because I want to feel better about myself. Sometimes it's just a guilty conscience, and there are studies that show that people sometimes do a good deed, and then it gives them a feeling like they're a good person, and it makes it easier for them to do the wrong thing in the future. So sometimes I do it to feel better about myself, and sometimes I do it to give an excuse that I know I'm going to do something wrong, I'm going to do something that is not ideal, and maybe I give a little bit of charity, or I plant a tree, and then I consume things wastefully, and I still feel like I'm not harming the environment because I did one good thing in the past. So some people do good because they don't want to have a bad reputation. Other people do good because they want to feel good about themselves. Some people do good because they want to have an excuse in order to do something that their own conscience tells them is wrong in the future. Other people, they do good because they want to get something from God. So sometimes people, for example, will say that I'm going to read this dua because I want to see the Prophet, for example, or one of the Imams in my dream. I want to do this good deed because I want my prayer to be answered by God. I want to do this good deed because I want to get something from God. And that is better than the previous states, because at least you recognize that whatever good is going to come to you is from God. That's a good state. But it's still not ideal. Let's say that I'm sick. And so until yesterday, I wasn't that careful about my actions. Maybe I would commit a sin, I would gossip, I would speak rudely. And then today when I'm sick and now I want to be cured of my sickness, so all of a sudden I'm careful, I don't want to offend God, I don't want to be negligent in my duties to Allah. Why? Because I want to be able to pray to God for cure, especially if I'm very sick and I'm very worried about my health, and I want that prayer to be answered. So that's better than thinking I don't need God, and all I need is just a good doctor, all I need is just a good diet, all I need is just some medicine. Because the medicine and the treatment and all of those things, those are means created by God and in the power of God. But it's still not ideal, because God is not just a better physician than a human physician, and prayer is not just a better medicine than some chemicals or pharmaceuticals. That is also not ideal. So when we honor Ahlul Bayt, it's not always that we are learning something that we didn't already know. But now we are affirming that if I want to do what is right, one of the ways that I become a true mu'min is to do it because it was the practice of Muhammad wa ali Muhammad alayhimu salatu wassalam. One of the reasons that I do it is because it was the teaching of the Prophet and his progeny. I know that lying is bad. I know that envy is bad. And I can do that to have a good reputation. I can do that to be a better salesperson. I can do that to get something from God. I can do that to feel good about myself. All of those are reasons why people may do good things, why they might avoid, for example, speaking in anger. Alaykum as-salatu was-salam. But better than all of these reasons is to do it because it was the character of our Prophet and the character of his family. To do it because it was the teaching of our Prophet and the teaching of the family of our Prophet. And if I do what is good for this reason, then it will become a means for true piety, a means for approach to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. People will not be able to tell the difference. So if you speak to me kindly, I will not always be able to tell if you're just being kind to me because you want to take advantage of me and get a loan, or because you truly love me, or because you are a pious person. Now maybe some people are a little bit more savvy and they can tell when somebody is being fake and somebody is being genuine. But generally speaking, we cannot always tell. And even the savviest person can be fooled by somebody who is more experienced and more savvy than they are. There will always be a con person who will be smarter than even an experienced and a street smart person that they might approach. People can't tell. But if I want to truly be pious, then when I associate my efforts, my good deeds with Ahlul Bayt, then, first of all, they also take a special interest in my spiritual development. There is a blessing that comes from God and from Ahlul Bayt over my person and over my character. And second, because they were so sincere in their goodness, when I say that I want to be good because of them, I naturally lose all of those insincere goals and intentions and become more pure and sincere in my goodness. So let us look at our 11th Imam and the 13th Ma'soom, Imam Hassan ibn Ali al-Zaki al-Askari alayhi salatu was-salam. Sallu ala and some of his teachings. The first is a hadith in which our 11th Imam said, خَصْلَتَانْ لَيْسَ فَوْقَهُمَا شَيْءٍ. There are two attributes that are the pinnacle of human attributes, the greatest things that a human being can aspire to. Al-Iman Billah, one of them is to have faith in Allah, to believe and to have faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this, of course, is not in need of any explanation, because the root of all goodness, it comes from knowing who we are, where we come from, why we are in this world, and where we will go after we leave this world. That is the root of all goodness, and that is Iman Billah, to know our humanity, to be grounded and rooted not just in our relationship with our family, but in our relationship to Allah. Iman is what keeps us humble. Because no matter how smart I might be, no matter how powerful I might be, no matter how wealthy I might be, if I believe in God, then I know that all of those good things I have, they come from God. And I know that even those things that I might take great pleasure and pride in, they don't truly belong to me, they belong to God. And so, what keeps us humble and grounded and gives us a sustainable goodness is Iman Billah. And that is why Imam Hassan Askari says that this is one of those two attributes that is at the very pinnacle. خَصْلَتَانْ لَيْسَ فَوْقَهُمَا شَيْءٍ. These are two things that there is nothing better than it. And that's a reminder for us in a society that often does not value faith. It's very common for people to say, I don't care what your faith is like, I want to see what you do. And it is true that actions are important. And faith without actions is deficient, and it is not true faith. I can't say that I love you, but every time you say something, I cut you off. Every time you want something, I do the opposite. Every friend that you have, I dislike them. At some point, if everything that I do is against your wishes, your pleasure, your happiness, then it raises a question as to whether I am sincere when I say I love you. It is true that faith without actions is deficient. And if we continue to claim faith without following it up with actions, then it might mean that we are not sincere, that we are hypocritical. But the point is that faith is itself something to be valued. And when we see that there is maybe a gap between faith and actions, the proper perspective is not to cheapen the importance of faith, but to strengthen the importance of actions. Not to say that I don't care about your faith, I just want to see the actions. But to say that if you truly have faith, then it should bring a certain type of action. Our society, it often doesn't care about what is on the inside, it just cares about what is on the outside. If somebody's rich, then people envy them, even if they earned their wealth through gambling, even if they earned their wealth through the sale of wine and intoxicants, even if they earned their wealth through things that are harmful to other people and harmful to society. Why? If we lived in a moral society, then people would consider that wealth to be a curse. They would consider that power to be fire that is encircling that evil person. But why do we still have those powerful people admired, listened to, envied? Because our society sees the outside and it says, I don't care about the inside. Iman is important because it is Iman that is going to bring forth actions that are spiritual and eternal and worthy of humanity. Yes, Iman requires actions, but it is not true that actions are important and Iman is unimportant. One of the two most important things is al-Imanu billah. Hadith once again is from our 11th Imam, Imam Hassan al-Askari alayhi salatu wassalam. Faith in Allah is one of the two most important attributes that a person can acquire. And the second is وَنَفْعُ الْإِخْوَانِ. And then once you have faith in God, what are the actions that we should value? The Imam says one of the greatest actions is to see what good you can do to your fellow believers, to your brothers and sisters in faith. Naf'ul ikhwan, to give them a benefit. And that's a comprehensive term. Sometimes we feel like generosity is something that is only possible for those who are wealthy. But in reality, generosity is not about my wealth, it is about my intention. It is about my spirit. There are many people who are wealthy and they may give much, but they are not as generous as somebody who has less wealth. Because generosity, it comes not from the surface, it comes from the heart. It is defined by not how much you have or how much you give, but rather how selfless you are. Naf'ul ikhwan also is something that is rooted in our selflessness and our sincerity. And so if I don't have time to give, if I don't have money to give, I have my prayers. I might have advice. I might have kindness or a smile or a show of concern. All of those are forms of generosity. All of those are forms of benefit to others. And sometimes these things that we almost don't give a second thought to, they are the glue that can build a community and build a society and hold it together. And when we have this glue, then it is that the monetary giving and the contribution of time is also able to have a benefit. So 2 attributes our 11th Imam teaches us: strengthen our iman, because that is one of the 2 greatest attributes that we can possess. And number 2, try to the extent possible to give nafa and benefit to others. If people are in need of money, let us be generous with our assistance. If people are in need of our time, let us be generous with our time. If we have a certain knowledge or expertise that they don't have, then let us give our experience or our expertise or whatever else it might be that we can offer. And at the very least, regardless of all else, we can all give our kindness and we can all give our prayers, our dua. And those are sometimes the greatest and the most generous of gifts that we can give to others. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. The second hadith that I will mention today is when Imam Hassan al-Askari alayhi salatu wasalam says, جُعِلَتِ الْخَبَائِثُ كُلُّهَا فِي بَيْتٍ. The first hadith was about good attributes. This hadith is about khaba'ith, undesirable attributes. The Imam says that all khaba'ith, all of the undesirable attributes that exist, they're all in a single home. They're all in a single building. وَجُعِلَ مِفْتَاحُهَا الْكَذِبُ. And the key to that building is lying. If I can commit that I'm not going to lie, then those evils will stay locked up. But when I am fast and loose with the truth, then it'll make it easier for me to commit many of those other sins and shortcomings as well. Let's just say that I'm in school and I have half an hour to study, so I spend that time studying, either watching something online or drawing in my book, and then I come and I don't do well on the test. If I know that I'm not going to lie and I've committed not to lie, then when my teacher asks me, why didn't you do well? Then I will say, you know what? I wasted my time. And I will be embarrassed. I might get punished. I might even have a little bit of a temporary sadness that I was scolded by my teacher, I was punished for my shortcoming, but I will fix that mistake. But what happens with most of us? We do the opposite. We say, I don't know, I tried really hard. I did my best. Are we fooling the teacher? Maybe. Maybe not. But whether we fool our teacher or not, we are fooling ourselves and we are harming ourselves. And we are making it much more likely that next time I will be even more careless. Because shaitan now will open other doors of lying, of cheating, of stealing. He will make me lose my sense of dignity. Once I lie, and once I have lied to you, then it becomes easier for me to lie to anyone. It becomes easy for me to lie to Allah. يُخَادِعُونَ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ. And then I think that I'm going to fool Allah and His Prophet just like I was able to fool you. But who am I really fooling? وَمَا يَخْدَعُونَ إِلَّا أَنفُسَهُمْ. It's just myself that I am actually fooling by thinking that I can get ahead by lying. If I commit that I'm not going to lie, if I wasted my time, I will tell my parent. If I didn't do what I was supposed to do, I will tell my teacher. And I will get scolded, and I will get in trouble, and I will apologize, and I will make up, and I will own up to my mistake. Then not only will I not repeat that mistake, but I also will be more honest with myself. And I will be protected from so many harms and sins in the future. These are just a few of the teachings we learn from our 11th Imam, Imam Hassan ibn Ali al-Zaki al-Askari alayhim as-salatu was-salam. May Allah allow us to honor our ma'sumin in our lives and with our character. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Inna a'tainaka al-kawthar fasalli li rabbika wanhar inna shani'aka huwa al-abtar. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina wa Nabiyyina Abil Qasim Muhammad wa ala ahli baytihi at-tayyibin at-tahirin. La siyama Ali Amir al-Mu'minin wa ala Fatimah az-Zahra wa ala al-Hasan wal-Husayn وعلي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي الزكي العسكري والحجة بن الحسن القائم المهدي عجل الله تعالى فرجه وسهل الله مخرجه وظهوره. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. In the second khutbah, I begin by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for His infinite bounties, which we do not always recognize and we do not always show gratitude for. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to recognize and to thank Him for all that He has given us, and may He increase His kindness and His generosity to us. May He forgive us for our sins and our shortcomings, all of us present and all mu'mineen and mu'minat throughout the world. Last week, we offered condolences to the Imam of our time and to all mu'mineen and mu'minat for a very tragic extremist attack on worshippers for Friday prayer in Afghanistan. And it is very painful for me to repeat that condolence once again today. Last week there was an attack in Kunduz, and on this Friday there was an attack in Kandahar. Once again, dozens of people were martyred, dozens of people were injured. We also have martyrs who lost their life during a peaceful and an innocent protest in Lebanon. The news will tell you that there were clashes. The news will tell you that there was violence, but there were not clashes and there was not violence. There were innocent people, some of them in their homes, who were deliberately targeted and attacked, and all of them were followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salatu wassalam. There is a common thread in these attacks. They attack people who are unarmed, who are not oppressing anyone else, and they are attacks directed against people who are lovers of Ahlul Bayt. And in spite of the difficulty of hearing about and remembering these acts of violence, it is also something that we thank Allah and we praise Allah for, that He made us those who are targeted and oppressed, but not those who target others and oppress others. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep all believers and all lovers of Muhammad wa ali Muhammad in His protection. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And all of those who have been attacked and who have suffered and who have lost loved ones, may Allah grant them strength and may He give them their condolence and tranquility as they weather a very difficult test. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. صلاة الجمعة. الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله اللهم صل على محمد أشهد أن عليا ولي الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل يا أيها الكافرون لا أعبد ما تعبدون ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد ولا أنا عابد ما عبدتم ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد لكم دينكم ولي دين. الله أكبر. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. رب صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. رب صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. رب صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد وأركع وأسجد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. كذلك الله ربنا. الله أكبر.
سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. رب صل على محمد وآل محمد.
سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. ربنا اغفر لنا وارحمنا وعافنا واعف عنا في الدنيا والآخرة إنك على كل شيء قدير. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر.
سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. رب صل على محمد وآل محمد.
الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر.
سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. رب صل على محمد وآل محمد.
الله أكبر. الحمد لله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا ذا الجلال والإكرام يا ذا النعماء والجود يا ذا المن والطول حرم شيبتي على النار. اللهم اهدني من عندك واحفظ علي من فضلك وانشر علي من رحمتك وانزل علي من بركاتك. إلهي هذه صلاتي صليتها لا لحاجة منك عليها ولا رغبة منك فيها إلا تعظيما وطاعة وإجابة لك إلى ما أمرتني به. إلهي إن كان فيها خلل ونقص من نيتها وقيامها وقراءتها وركوعها وسجودها فلا تواخذني وتفضل علي بالقبول والغفران برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.
الله أكبر. الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. اللهم صل على محمد. أشهد أن عليا ولي الله. اللهم صل على. أشهد أن عليا حجة الله. اللهم صل على. حي على الصلاة، حي على الصلاة، حي على الفلاح، حي على الفلاح، حي على خير العمل، حي على خير العمل. قد قامت الصلاة، قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر، الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. رب صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر.
سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. رب صل على محمد وآل محمد.
الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر.
سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. رب صل على محمد وآل محمد.
الله أكبر. بحول الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الله أكبر. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم إنا نرغب إليك في دولة كريمة تعز بها الإسلام وأهله، وتذل بها النفاق وأهله، وتجعلنا فيها من الدعاة إلى طاعتك والقادة إلى سبيلك. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر.
سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. رب صل على محمد وآل محمد.
سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر.
سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. رب صل على محمد وآل محمد.
الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر.
سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. رب صل على محمد وآل محمد.
الله أكبر. الحمد لله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بحول الله. الله أكبر.
سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. رب صل على محمد وآل محمد.
سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر.
سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. رب صل على محمد وآل محمد.
الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر.
سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. رب صل على محمد وآل محمد.
الله أكبر. بحول الله. الله أكبر.
سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده رب صل على محمد وآل محمد.
سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر.
سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده رب صل على محمد وآل محمد.
الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر.
سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده رب صل على محمد وآل محمد.
الله أكبر. الحمد لله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم إن مغفرتك أرجى من عملي وإن رحمتك أوسع من ذنبي. اللهم إن كان ذنبي عندك عظيما فعفوك أعظم من ذنبي. اللهم إن لم أكن أهلا نبلغ رحمتك فرحمتك أهل أن تبلغني وتسعني لأنها وسعت كل شيء برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. السلام عليك يا رسول الله. السلام على علي أمير المؤمنين. السلام على فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين. السلام على الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة. السلام على الأئمة التسعة المعصومين من ذرية الحسين. السلام عليكم جميعا أهل بيت النبوة ورحمة الله وبركاته. اللهم صل